What's going on, guys? Welcome back into the channel. Today we're going to have another episode of the Houston Texans rebuild here on PS5 on Next Gen Madden 21. And if all goes to plan, you guys should be able to see some actual highlights today of our final two preseason games. We'll try to cut them up together, and hopefully you guys will get a little bit of an enjoyable change of pace here on the channel. With that being said, I'll see you guys in the game. Alright guys, and we are joined back together here in the first quarter of the game. Very early on in this one, we hand the ball off to our rookie running back, Crisp, and he does a nice job of utilizing his speed to get to the edge there. I'm not sure exactly what the defender was doing, but a nice gain of 19 to start off this game for the offense, and the rookie continues to bolster his performance so far this preseason. And Biggs connects downfield to Albert O. Albert O, who has been relatively quiet so far this preseason, finally making an impact and moving the chains early in this game. You guys will probably see quite a bit of this opening drive because it's moving pretty steadily here for the offense. And just a few plays later, the offensive drive stalled out early here for the Texans. They're going to go ahead and put 3 points up on the board, and we'll see you guys in the next highlight. And late in the first quarter here, in a 3-0 ball game with the Texans having a lead, Biggs connects to Braxton Berrios over the middle on a critical 3rd and 15 play. Braxton Berrios and Nick Biggs drops that ball into him real nicely over the defense. Very close game here towards the end of the first quarter. Not much to speak of on either side of the ball for either team. Just 2 plays later, Nick Biggs decides to do it himself, taking this team down into the red zone with this 21-yard run, showing why he's been a dual threat prospect for this team and why they think he can be a legitimate long-term starter for this team if he can just continue to hone his skills. With less than a minute left in the first quarter, Crisp gets the handoff and takes it down to the 1-yard line, almost getting it into the end zone. And here on the very next play, Spencer Ware is going to get the handoff in order to try to punch this one in. And he does just that, carrying it in around the edge as there was nice blocking by the team in front of him. And that puts the Houston Texans up with a 2-score lead as the first quarter is about to expire. We're joined back in a 10-0 ball game with about 8 minutes left in the first half, so plenty of time on the clock for both teams. But the New England Patriots have been failing to move the ball at all on the offensive side. Not much going on with the Texans defense to make those stops, just the Patriots not really doing much. And Biggs is out here firing bullets all across the field, as you guys can see on this play. He shoots a nice one out there to his rookie running back for a beautiful reception that gets them down into scoring territory once again. We hit the 2-minute warning of the first half of the New England Patriots game here, and New England is actually driving the football finally. They've finally gotten some semblance of an offense together. The Texans have since added yet another field goal, but nothing incredible to report at this stage of the game. As you guys can see, the New England Patriots driving the ball downfield here relatively successfully on this drive. With an opportunity to score before half, you got to be thinking that they want to punch this ball in and get a touchdown to make this a close ball game. And he tosses one up into the back of the end zone, and Reid comes up with another interception this preseason. He's been playing phenomenally, and the Texans keep New England scoreless in the first half of this ball game. Following a long screenplay pass to Crisp on the last play, the Texans are moved quickly downfield with an opportunity to get another score on the board before half. And they're going to try to do just that as he passes to Albert O once again, and Albert O makes a nice catch, able to get this ball up over the 50-yard line all the way down to the 36, and the Texans are in scoring territory once again. Biggs looks like he's going to do it with his legs. He does. He's rolling out to the edge, and he smartly gets out of bounds down at the 28-yard line. He's got to be careful, though, because he will get tired fairly quickly if he starts to use those legs too much. Braxton Berrios has been having a pretty solid day. You got to think that he's going to be looking for his man Braxton Berrios in this situation as he just barely overthrows his man. Maybe a little too much movement from him back there in the pocket. Corner. I think we're going to test him with Albert O. Albert O has been looking to prove himself early in this preseason. I think it's worthwhile to toss one up to him. And that one will be intercepted, and they say Duggar comes down with it at the end of the first half here. So that'll be your score going into the half, 13-0. Houston is up on New England. And on the first drive of the third quarter, we've got an interesting one here. The Texans move the ball quite easily down the field, again across the 50-yard line, and Nick Biggs showing a bit of inaccuracy here. Tosses one up to his receiver on the outside, but is hit as he throws. And so a ball that was meant to be thrown to the wide receiver, Arrington, out here on the edge, actually goes towards Albert O. And I believe it's Duggar, and Duggar again does a nice job of coming over and going up for the overthrown ball. The defense was once again able to come up with a crucial stop on the last drive. We're going to be stuck with a pretty tough situation here on the 1-yard line. We are going to try to run this ball to give ourselves some space. We get some pretty good blocking, and Crisp gets a nice 14-yard gain right off of the goal line there. Fantastic play to get some space and pretty good blocking. It was a close one there. If he would have got grabbed, he could have got brought down in the backfield. We'll try to show you guys a bit of this drive because there hasn't been much to highlight in this game. So there we go with Crisp again. Crisp getting a nice run and pushing forward for some extra yardage. He's getting close to 100 yards on the day, and you guys are actually getting a good picture of why we think this guy has so much potential and why we really want to continue to showcase his talents here in the preseason. Minute 38 left in the third quarter. And some pretty good blocking up front overall so far this game, especially with the injuries we've had so far. Definitely, I think, worthwhile to highlight the fact that our blocking has been pretty effective. Braxton Berrios open over the middle, and you guys can see that inaccuracy showing up from Nick Biggs. 12 of 24 today, which, not very good, about a 50% rate there from him. And to be quite honest with you guys, it's almost kind of amazing that we have any points in this game. We're going to dump it off to the halfback on this one. Crisp, I think, does enough to get the first down there, and he does. The Texans are going to keep it alive on this drive, and they're living to fight another day. They maintain that 13-point lead, though, so the idea here is just to maintain possession of the ball. If they continue to maintain possession like they have been, there should be no issue. Don't turn it over too soon. The 2 turnovers that we've had have been down in the end zone or near the end zone, so you can't really say that they've hurt us too much. And the defense has been consistent. Biggs going to hit Kute on the outside. And as we end the third quarter, we are across the 50-yard line with a 13-point lead. Got to imagine Houston wants to get at least another field goal on the board and make this a 3-score game. I guess it would technically still only be a 2-point game. There we see the first rush by Curley. 1-yard rush. One rush for 14 yards. Fantastic run by him. And you guys can see the potential we have in these 2 halfbacks. If the blocking is going in front of them, they find their holes and they get the yardage. Kahel Waring makes a nice little possession grab over the middle. And Walford is in the game at quarterback, so let's see what he can do. We have been looking to see if he can maybe step up a little bit further from his first few performances. Right now he's just going to be handing the ball off mainly. By no means is this quarterback battle locked up in any way. The quarterback battle isn't locked up. I think a lot of these position battles are not locked up officially, as he does make a nice dump off in the screen game, and Spencer Ware, not sure why he's out there. Must be a tired thing for Curley. I think he should be out on the field for the most part here. But Spencer Ware going to get a couple of carries. He has proven to be reliable here so far in the preseason. and he does have that one touchdown earlier in the game. And a great block up front. Curley unable to burst through the gap quite quick enough. There was a lot of green in front of him. Going to bring up a 3rd and inches scenario, and I think that this is a situation where we just want to keep this ball on the ground. So we're just going to go with something out of the I form, maybe an ISO. Just try to get this ball a couple of inches over the first down line. Good blocking. And Curley gets up to the 7-yard line. 4 rushes for 28 for him. You can see that he's averaging pretty solid numbers as well. And between these two rookie running backs, I think that we have, a very solid future in front of us on the ground. The only other thing to note, and it looks like Walford's going to take off here. Walford does not have speed, and he rolls into the end zone for a rushing touchdown. That's something you see out of Nick Biggs, not something you see out of Walford. And it's going to tell us to go for 2 here, so we will go ahead and do that. I am very highly impressed that Walford showed enough speed to actually be able to get in the end zone there, and Spencer Ware, the reliable back, puts us up 21-0. So with 5:41 left in the game, that's pretty much going to do it. If we see any amazing highlights from here on out, I will definitely bring you guys back into them. But at the very least, expect to be brought back in during our 4th and final preseason game. We are joined here against the Chicago Bears in Soldier Field. We did come away with a 24-7 victory in our last game, and we will be looking to put some more points on the board here. Nick Biggs and this offense looking to see what they can do in the rain. This is actually a fantastic test for this offense to see if they can get anything going when the conditions are tough. We haven't seen that so far this preseason, and I don't know how much we're going to see of that during the season, but something that we absolutely want to know about our team. So hopefully we can get some good highlights in this game. It's looking like it'll probably be a good defensive ball game, and we'll keep you guys updated as the highlights come in. With about 5 minutes left on the clock in the first quarter, the Texans have been doing a good job of keeping the ball on the ground and keeping possession of it. However, Biggs on this play does a fantastic job of selling the play action. He gets a man open in the end zone and dots up for the touchdown, giving this team a 7-0 lead. And that is a crucial play to be able to see from your young quarterback and wide receiver, being able to gain separation, keep your footing, as well as connecting on the open pass in the rain. A fantastic play here. Not going to be any type of incredible highlight for you guys, but something I want to highlight from some very low overall players here, and something that is absolutely worth keeping of note as we head into the regular season and make the call on who's going to be starting for it. Keon Crossan's going to come in for a beautiful sack on this play. Haven't gotten a whole lot of pressure within the last game and a quarter here, but looks like maybe cornerback blitzes and things of that nature, for safety blitzes, are going to be in our favor this season. This defense has a long ways to go before they are going to be consistently able to generate pressure, but I like what I saw on that play out of these guys. The defensive line getting a bit of a push up front, and then the defensive back obviously getting into the backfield and sacking Mitchell Trubisky. Mitchell Trubisky's going to bomb it deep on this one, and he gets burnt. Johnson Jr., I believe, was the cornerback out there on the outside, and he got absolutely toasted by Mooney, of all players. Let's go ahead and take another look at that one. We can get a name on it. Yep, and there it is. Pretty poor job defensively. Mooney is the one with the reception, and you guys can see Johnson Jr. out there on the outside. So definitely a name we're going to be keeping of note, because that's not a wide receiver that I expect to go up and get this type of a catch consistently, and that's a pretty poor effort by the defensive back there. So we will be keeping note of him in terms of making decisions on who's going to start on the outside for us. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have a fourth down situation here. 4th and 1 in a tie ball game. Not even across the 50-yard line, and the Texans are going to go for it. They're aiming for their halfback out of the backfield, and they almost get it to him, but a nice batted ball on the edge. However, the Texans are going to draw a roughing the passer call as they decide, the Bears decide, I should say, that they're going to hit in to Nick Biggs as he's trying to get that pass off. And so the Texans going to continue to move the ball downfield here with relative ease in this game. And just a couple plays later, Crisp uses his legs to get down to the 1-yard line again. And man, this guy comes up just short so many times here in the preseason. Hopefully, he is able to build upon that and turn those into touchdowns as he continues to develop in his NFL career. But a beautiful run there to get us down into the red zone and get us down to the 1-yard line, the inch mark, in fact. Biggs is going to roll. He doesn't find anybody open. He did have a couple of guys with a little bit of a window, and that was actually Walford this time. Walford is in the game, and we're going to take Walford out. A couple of unsuccessful attempts later, Nick Biggs fires on the slant and finds his big receiver, Hayes, for the touchdown. The man that we've talked about quite a bit this preseason. We think he's going to do big things for the Houston Texans and makes a beautiful reception with a man draped all over him. Jack Hayes, number 83 with the touchdown. Fantastic catch. And that puts the Houston Texans up 14-7. Biggs finds his running back on the next play. Spencer Ware gets open for the reception to the outside, and you guys can see Biggs is loving that route from his running backs. He's thrown that quite a few times in this preseason. And Spencer Ware, of all people, comes up with a beautiful reception. Let's look at that one once again. This is a bit of a daring play by the offense as they're only on the 6-yard line, and there is pressure coming from all different angles at Biggs. You know, about a second later, and he could have got sacked from the right side, potentially the left side. The ball almost gets batted at the line of scrimmage, but it doesn't. Great job of standing in there. Great poise by Biggs. He gets this ball out there, leads his halfback, and you guys can see that ball has some wobble on it in the air, so maybe a little bit of nerves from him, but he hits Spencer Ware, and I tell you what, if that was Curley or Crisp at running back, this would absolutely be a touchdown. There's no way that that safety finds him after this catch. Spencer Ware, though, does a nice job of gaining some extra yardage on this one and takes it all the way up to about the 40-yard line and doesn't go down without a fight as well. So coming in with 6.5 minutes left in the first half, the Texans up 14-7 after getting basically 3 and out from the Chicago Bears. Chicago not having much success today. Through the air, they've been doing all right. On the ground, not so much. Other than that pretty bad coverage on the outside by Johnson Jr., no highlights or anything on the defensive side of the ball. We have been trying to get pressure on Trubisky. And here we go. We hand off to Curley, and Curley might be able to take this one into the end zone. Can he make a move on the last man? He is unable to. Gets this ball down to the 11-yard line, and that's a tough injury there. Kahel Waring, who has looked like a pretty good player for this offense in preseason, going to go down with an injury. Just a little while later, Biggs finds Hayes in the back corner of the end zone on a beautiful touchdown pass. An absolute dot from Nick Biggs on this throw. We got to look at this one once again. Let's see this touchdown pass by Biggs. As he finds Hayes, the big receiver, he puts it right where only the receiver can get it. No chance at a defender grabbing that ball. Hayes drags the toes, comes down in bounds, and makes a beautiful reception. This is going to be a deadly combo for a long time here in Houston, especially once they get going. And I can't wait to see what these guys have in store for the regular season. Amenahu gets a beautiful sack here. The Houston Texans are up 35-16 going into the fourth quarter here. This is not a pretty game, and Omenahu does a great job of bull rushing his man to get in the backfield. Omenahu, a guy that we don't expect to start but might fight for some playing time after a play like that, absolutely manhandled his guy. And Chicago comes up short on the kick. So not even a close game at this point. If there are any significant highlights, I'll bring you guys in. So far, it's just been a pretty ground and pound game, and to be quite honest with you guys, the Bears offense has looked pretty terrible in this one. And in addition to that, I'm going to be looking to maybe increase the sliders a bit because we have gone undefeated here in the preseason against these teams. So definitely looking to increase the difficulty going into the regular season, and we'll see how that works out for us. But I think I'm going to be seeing you guys after the game here for some stats, updates, and some decision making on who is going to start for this team going into the regular season. We'll just cap it off there one more time with Thaddeus Moss making a beautiful reception. Nick Biggs has thrown for 4 touchdowns in this game, and he is absolutely on a roll. And we are joined back together here at the end of the game. We did come away with a victory there, 38-22. So with that being said, let's go ahead and review the stats of the preseason and make some decisions here on who's going to be starting going into opening day. I think that it's a pretty clear-cut decision at the quarterback position. We've heavily used Nick Biggs, and we liked a lot of what we saw out of him. He's a bit inaccurate. Can't overlook that, but he has a lot of room to grow. And he did a good job for the most part, passing for 7 touchdowns and 3 interceptions. From a rushing perspective, this one's an interesting one because I really liked what I saw out of both Kerry Crisp and Abdul Curley, as well as the veteran Spencer Ware getting quite a bit of playing time there. I think that the starter has to be Kerry Crisp to start, but we will be doing a high rotation, rotating these guys in very often between Curley and Crisp because Curley, rushed almost as effectively as Crisp did there with 7.5 or 7.7 yards per carry, and he had 4 touchdowns on the ground. From a receiving perspective, Jack Hayes has to get promoted to a starting receiver for this team, if not the number 1 receiver. 174 yards, 4 touchdowns, a 6'5" target. This guy is going to be an absolute beast, and I hope that continues to show in the regular season. Braxton Berrios was pretty effective as a slot wide receiver, so he may continue that role, though there were some times where he got hung up on coverage that I didn't like what I saw out of him because he got kind of dominated in some of those more physical plays. Kerry Crisp as well added some really nice yards on the ground, through the air, and so I think that further adds to the fact that I think Crisp is going to be the day 1 starter. Lee Arrington, the rookie, doing a nice job in the receiving game. Albert O adding 5 receptions. Thaddeus Moss adding 5 receptions and a touchdown. So I think our starting tight end duo might be Thaddeus Moss and Albert O. Isaiah Coulter did a pretty good job in the receiving game, but other than that, I don't think there's much else to note here outside of maybe guys like Kiki Kute not doing as well as I had hoped that they would. So he might get kind of demoted here in the lineup. Outside of that as well, we can look at the offensive line. Drew Ford allowed a couple of sacks, but I think he's a super low overall at a 64 overall. So really an admirable performance by all of the guys that played a lot of snaps in the preseason. So we will probably be looking at a pretty similar offensive line. From the defensive perspective, we did not get a ton of pressure. Although Tavares Blackburn did get 2 sacks, Charles Omenahu got 2 sacks, so it might be worth noting that he could get some increased playing time. Keon Crossan did get that sack playing out of the slot, so that might be a good option for us to play him in the slot. And then a couple of sacks here and there from other players, Jalen Haskins, JoJo Stanton, but not much from the rest of the defensive line. Justin Reid gets 3 interceptions, and then no other interceptions, increased from where we were before at 1 apiece between Greedry and Skandrick. And then in addition to that, let's take a look at forced fumbles. There's just that one by Charles Omenahu. So Omenahu might be a guy that we see as a day 1 starter. I don't think he has a ton of potential or anything like that, but he does have pretty well-rounded stats as a player, and so that might benefit us until some of the other guys develop a bit behind him. And I think that that's pretty much all we have to note in this video, so I hope you guys look forward to the regular season, which we will be starting soon. And I don't have to necessarily record those in the same format, so I can get those videos out a bit quicker to you guys. So hopefully you guys are excited for that. If you are, leave a like on the video, comment down below, and subscribe to the channel if you're new. I'll see you guys in the next one, and I hope you guys have a good night.